Oscar-winning filmmaker Oliver Stone is unveiling a project that's been 4 years in the making this week with the premiere episode of his 10-part documentary series, The Untold History of the United States. It debuts on Showtime. The sometimes controversial director sets out to retell some of the pivotal events of our nation's past, talks about his own introduction to the nation's place in the world. Listen.
It made sense. We were the center of the world. There was a manifest destiny. We were the good guys. Well, I've traveled the world now. I continued my education as an infantryman in Vietnam. I made a lot of movies, some of them about history. And I've learned a lot more than I once knew.
The Untold History of the United States airs Monday nights on Showtime, 8 p.m. Eastern, accompanied by this book by the same exact title. It's nice to have you with us, Oliver Stone.
Thank you,
Real
Soledad.
pleasure. So why is the history, as you think it really is, untold? It's an intentional reason in your rationale.
You know, when I say Untold, maybe it's the wrong title, but I like the title, but it could have been called The Ignored History. This stuff was at points in the newspapers or sometimes in the headlines even, but it's been somewhat forgotten, like the Henry Wallace story. It was there. It's out there. Scholars at the college level certainly know it. History historians who work on this know it. But it's not in the general consensus in the high school level. My daughter, I don't know why, because it happened after World War II.
And you point to World War II as sort of an area that we do a PR version of what happened in World War II, which is not the real version of what happened. What really happened?
Well, the first chapter is about World War II, and it's an amazing story of the U.S.-British relations between Churchill and Roosevelt, the conflicts. And not some, they're allies, clearly, but the conflicts that exist between the British Empire and the American Empire, and what the how World War I created the World War II. And then the Russian Empire under Stalin becomes a big issue because the British and the Soviets do not agree. Churchill's very anti-Soviet. And we get into a relationship with Roosevelt and Stalin that's fascinating. It's like a three-card money game. They're playing for geopolitics, power after the war. And the dropping of the atomic bomb is very much the origin myth, you know, that we get in school. That we had to drop the bomb to save American lives because the Japanese were fanatics and would fight to the end. We show in the course of the chapters how the Japanese were finished. They were completely decimated, their economy, their shipping, everything, and how the Soviets had come into the war and were cleaning up the Japanese army in Manchuria and various islands in the Japanese. So there was no necessity to drop the bomb, but it was dropped to warn the Russians, and that starts basically this Cold War conflict that dominates our lives and dominates our national security structure.
I think there are people who say there's a reason why there's not transparency, right? There's a reason why you have this narrative of here's what America's done.
I mean, first of all, if we study our history and we got to know it better, we can understand it. And our citizenry can't even begin to get there. They have points of view, but we're talking about fact. We're talking about educating yourself in how we got to be who we are. If we can understand where we came from, we can understand where we are now. You can only change the past. You can't change yourself unless you know the past.
Who do you want to get something from this book? Is it young people who don't know our history?
I think history is exciting and colorful. It's an intelligent documentary series. It does go fast, but young people can handle it because they're used to it from their iPad, their internet existence, but it's a good story for them to know.
The book is called The Untold History of the United States. Oliver Stone, it's nice to have you in to talk with us. We appreciate it. Thanks so much. He mentioned there Henry Wallace. Well, Henry Wallace, of course, was the vice president during Franklin Roosevelt's administration. In 1948, he made an unsuccessful run at the presidency as the Progressive Party nominee. And so that's what he was mentioning there. Starting Point's back in a moment.